Hey, everybody, welcome to Tools for Success Counseling, where we provide the right tools for your mental wellness. On today's episode, we are thrilled to welcome Kainé Compton, a licensed mental health counselor associate with over 20 years of experience in the human services and mental health field. Kainé combines her roles as a clinician, licensed minister, and dedicated community servant to guide others through life's toughest challenges. So, whether you're dealing with trauma, anxiety, grief, Kainé is here to help you help yourself, blending traditional and Christian based counseling to create a path towards healing and self care. So, let's dive into the journey of Kainé and finding the importance of mental wellness of women, couples, and community, because that's who she really wants to connect with. Welcome, Kainé!
Hello.
Okay, we can't be shy the whole time. We got let your hair down, let your hair down, loosen up. We're good, we're good. How you
Okay,
feeling today?
I'm feeling good. I don't have that much hair to let down, but
Okay, so we always open up like this on Tools for Success. And also, everybody, Kainé is a counselor at Tools for Success in the Massachusetts office. So if you are looking for a counselor in the Massachusetts office and you feel like you'd be a good fit, please reach out. She gives free 15-minute consultations as well, right? You still got space on your caseload? Yes?
yes, I do. I
Okay,
do.
perfect, perfect. So, Kane, tell me. I know I read my little spiel I got from creeping on you online for what you do, but tell me about yourself. Who are you?
Gosh, why is it always so hard to
Yeah,
talk about you, right?
yeah,
Like it's very difficult to talk about me. So, um, with me, I you want to know exactly like how I got into the field of work, or
just tell me about you. Tell me about you. You. Who are you?
so I'm someone who has always been a helper. Um, working in the human service field. I don't even, I can go as far back as I remember where I was in elementary school. I always wanted to help people. I always wanted to be someone that supports. I'm the oldest.
Ooh.
The oldest child, firstborn. Took on a lot of responsibility as a child. I latchkey kid, getting out of school, fifth grade, walking to my sister's bus stop, picking them up, going home, and taking charge. My mother, single mom, so she was working, and she had that are the rules and regulations and all the directions written down on that piece of mail, telling us what we needed to do.
Yes, yes, yes.
And so I was the one who, enforced that, made sure my sisters did what they were supposed to do, and we waited for my mom to come home. We just I've always been very responsible, always been very caring, always had a heart for the people, always.
Yeah.
And I'm married. I'm married. I've been with my husband for 21 years.
Ooh.
We have three children, and he's the love of my life. It's like a perfect match. Not
Yeah.
perfect marriage, but we perfect for each other. I
Mm-hmm.
would sit here and lie if I told you that everything is perfect. That would be a complete lie. But we are perfect for each other. I am a minister, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
licensed ordained minister, and in the church, and leader in my church and my community. I'm born and raised Springfield, Mass.
Mm-hmm.
Graduated high school, part of the, grew up with the Springfield Public School System. Graduated from Putnam. Well, Roger L. Putnam, but we called it Putnam. And I actually never thought about getting into any type of human service or mental health work. I graduated high school with a culinary arts certificate, 4 years, and
Oh.
went to Johnson and Wales University
Oh.
to be a cruise line chef.
Okay. You taking turns. Okay.
Yes, yes. So it was a nice time, but I did not stay there long. Um, I just I learned, everything, and I'm very particular when it comes to cooking and food handling, food temperatures, food presentation, and I enjoy cooking. I really do. That's my thing. But it wasn't what I was called to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it was. It wasn't what I was called to do. So I left, returned back home, and just finished my education. And it's so funny because I was like, no, I'm gonna be a paralegal, and went into paralegal for school.
Okay.
So learned legal things and terminologies, and then it was just like, oh no, that's not what I want to do either. Again,
Mm.
here I am, 18, 19 years old. Stayed at one job forever, which was CVS. Uh, Thought that I was just going to stay in retail, but then I began working as a residential counselor. I
Mm-hmm.
was working as a residential counselor in a girls' group home. And when I began that work there, I started to really see these young, broken, girls who were just traumatized,
Mm.
and they just didn't know, like, they didn't know how to communicate what was going on with them. But for some reason, they could relate to me. And I, they had therapy, with the therapists on a regular basis there in the home. But I would ask them one day, I said, can I do a group with these young ladies? And they were like looking at me like, well, who is she? You don't have a degree. But the clinician there came to them and she advocated, and she said, I never forget it. Her name was Sally. And she said, Kainé has a different rapport with these girls, and I think that we should allow her to have, do a group with them. And I did a group every Wednesday with these young teenage girls. It was like a motivational empowerment group, doing some DBT work, And again, here I am. I was young. I didn't even know that I was actually doing DBT. I was just reading on the literature and taking things and adding my, my own stuff to it. And wow, it was just something I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm getting through to these girls. And
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. And it became so popular that the girls, when wouldn't be there, like if I took a day off or was on vacation, I come and go, where were you at? We wanted our group, and we missed our group. And so I ended up transferring from one house to the other because that house closed down, carried everything over. Did a lot of like goal planning, treatment goals. Just it was a really, really great thing for me. And then along with that work, I was actually doing groups and working at the Acorn Street Boys and Girls Club, but working with elementary school boys, and the neighborhood boys. So I just always knew that there was something different about me, but it took me a while to kind of find my place, right? I
Mm-hmm.
went back to school, and I went to Bay Path actually, for the 1 day a week Saturday program and women's program. And I was going to Bay Path full time. I was working full time for the Department of Children and Families.
Mm.
Excuse me, I was actually at CHD, and I was working at CHD. And then when I received my bachelor's degree, I transitioned over to DCF and became a DCF social worker. And listen, people can say whatever they want about the Department of Children and Families. I learned so much from that agency.
For
I
sure.
I worked under a really strong supervisor who I'm not afraid to ever talk about and give her credits and due. Her name was Meredith. Her name is Meredith Johnson,
Shout out to me.
and yep, I worked under her, and my direct manager was Thomas Devane. That was Meredith's manager, and it was the best experience I ever had as a DCF social worker, learning so much. And I tell anyone, if you can work anywhere if you ever work for the Department of Children and Families,
For sure.
because you deal with such an array of different things, trauma, the abuse, the physical, it's sexual abuse, the neglect. It was just the thing about it though with DCF was because I'm mental health, right? That's my field. But thank God I was underneath someone who was very clinical and
Yeah.
experienced, was emeritus. So she allowed me to operate in such a way, and she supported us. She supported her unit. But I kept saying there got to be somewhere else because I just feel like there's somewhere else I need to be with
Mm.
this, this degree that I have. I went to school, earned my bachelor's degree. I was pregnant with my son. I have three children. My daughters are 16, 15, and my son is 11. So I was pregnant with him, and finally I decided I am going to go back to school and earn my master's in mental health counseling. And I
Mm.
went to earn my master's in mental health counseling, still at Bay Path. And I decided it was time for me to leave DCF and transition over to the Department of Mental Health, where I still am at the Department of Mental Health. A lot different from DCF, but we deal with a very strong population of children that are, very mentally ill. And it takes a lot for a child to get referred into DMH services because they go through a process to make sure, because DMH, as you know, was the big brother of mental health in Massachusetts. So we make sure first, like, is this something that's very necessary, because DMH is very long term. We stay with the children until they're young adults, until about 21, and then transition them to adult DMH services. So it's a lifelong kind of process
Yeah.
as a DMH client, but I love it. I love what I do at DMH. I work in the Northampton office, but I service the Springfield area. So here I am servicing the same area that I live in,
Yeah.
people. And it's so funny because even when I was a DCF worker, I was servicing the Springfield area. But I'm
Mm.
Springfield bred and born, so it's just like, why not help my community? And so I just became more enriched and felt the need to work in the community that I serve, outside of work, joining different boards to help with the Springfield area, and connect with different councilmen and women, like our local councilmen, state representatives, different businesses, neighbors. It's just, I find myself, my hands are everywhere and everything, and it's a really great feeling. Well, then I decided, like, okay, I want to continue on, because I think that therapy, with the master's degree, that's definitely where I want to be. So I actually went back to CHD, but this time I was a clinician, stayed there for a year, and connected with Tamara Crenshaw, owner of Tools. And again, that is another person, like, hold in high regards, excellent supervisor, excellent human being overall. And she hired me, and I ended up coming to Tools, and I absolutely love the work that I do at Tools. And then now you're going to be like, well, what else do you do? Well, you're doing too much. But a passion of mine was always to teach, and I ended up getting hired at Bay Path University, like full
Oh, you're teaching
circle.
too right now?
I teach as well.
Oh, okay. 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 I did not know that. I did not know that. In all
Yeah.
my research, I did not know that. Okay.
Yes, yes. I'm a professor, adjunct professor at Bay Path University,
Wow.
and it was a dream of mine. Like, and my husband's like, "Oh my gosh, something else." And I'm like, "Yes, honey," because I
Mhm.
absolutely love it. Teaching if I could teach full time, trust me, that will be my thing, full
Wow.
time, as well as a clinician on the side, because I absolutely love what I'm doing there. Um,
Excellent.
I ended up getting hired and through BayPath, and because I went back for an alumni program, alumni ceremony,
Mhm.
and I connected, with the right people, and I was able to, meet with one of the directors, and she told us about the need for a course in death, dying, and bereavement, and
Wow.
that the students were asking for it because they had it, but that professor left a while, so it hadn't been opened again, offered again. So I said to her, I said, yeah, may I, if I could, I would do it if I could make it my way, right?
Hmm.
So she said, have a go at it. So I ended up recreating the entire death, dying, and bereavement course
Wow.
for the
Wow.
psychology department.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I I taught my first class September last year
Wow.
until December. Yep, ended around December. And so they decided that they're going to continue on with the course, but it's going to be offered in the fall time. And then they rehired me, asked me to stay on actually,
Hmm.
and asked if I would continue in the psychology department. And
Wow.
and
Excellent.
yeah, and so
Congratulations. Wow.
yeah, so my next course is health and human intro to health and human services, and I actually go tomorrow. It starts tomorrow.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, I'm glad to have you on the heels of that. Kind of, you've really done a lot. Like when you call yourself like a servant, a community servant, you've really been in the community, like down to doing the footwork into these clinical spaces. That's absolutely amazing. Thank you for the work that you have done, not only for Massachusetts, but specifically Springfield, Springfield, because I'm from Springfield. So just being able to, consistently be in the community, that takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of heart. That's given a lot of yourself because you're continuously around, the same people but different people.
Yeah.
Um, this is not one of the questions, but how do you stay steadfast in working in a community that you've been in so long? Because some people say, I got to get out. I've been here too long. It's been whatever, fill in the blank. So how do you stay steadfast in that?
Um. So, uh, you know, above all else, I'm a woman of faith, right? I have a personal relationship with Christ, and I just know that this is where God wants me to be, and because when I'm out in the community that I serve, I'm welcomed, and people know me, and the fact that they see me as someone who grew up here, right?
Mhm.
It lets them know, well, you grew up here, so, and you're doing well, and help me, show me how I can. And I just love being able to offer that to people. And that was the reason why it all started with those young girls, right? I just wanted to help teach them be productive members of the society, and I ran into a young lady, and this is the real reason why I stay. I ran into a young lady about 10 years ago who I used to work with in the group home. She was a young girl. And I'm coming out of the store, and I heard someone say, Kainé. So whenever someone says my name correctly, I know that you know me. Because it's either Kane or Kanye. I prefer Kane over Kanye, but and no offense to Kanye, but I do prefer if you're gonna mess it up, call me Kane. But and I turned around and I looked and I said, "Oh my gosh!" And she goes, "How are you?" And I said, "Oh my gosh!" And I'd said her name, and she gave me a big hug, and I said, "You're still living in Springfield?" And she says, "Yeah, I decided to stay." She says, I had a baby and I just decided to stay here." And she told me, she goes, "I just want you to know that you really helped me with those groups. And there were a lot of times where you may have thought that I wasn't listening or paying attention to you, but everything that you taught me has helped me. And I remember, and I use it now as an adult."
Beautiful.
And I
That's
was just,
amazing.
it just,
Phenomenal.
yeah, it just stuck with me. It really did. And I just thank God for that because we all have different ministries, right?
Yeah.
And the ministry that God gave me is working with young and adult women. In particular, I know that is because that is where it just flows naturally. I can't be anyone but myself, because I just want to help build people up. And yes, I do, have men that I run into in the community because, I am community involved, right? So, I'm on the Juneteenth board and I'm on the Mason Square C3 board. So, I'm doing all of these things in the community. But it's primarily the women that, because I'm a woman and I
Yeah.
know and I can relate to things that other women can relate to and have gone through. So it's just, I stay And, if God says it's time for you to go somewhere else, then you know what, I'll go somewhere else.
Mm.
But that is the population, especially women that have gone through some domestic violence and
Mhm. Okay.
of that nature. I want to service. I want to help them. I love to pour into them. I want to meet them where they're at, and I just want to let them know that you can grow after trauma that has been so impactful. Your life doesn't have to always be this way. So.
Absolutely. Beautiful. So, I mean, the next question was, why did you become a therapist? How did you get into this area? But I feel like you covered all of that in the entire intro. So, we'll jump into what is your approach in therapy and how do you tailor it to each client's unique needs?
So, how we get like a patient kind of info about the patient. I do read that. I do. But I don't always, I've never gone by that because, that's just a piece of paper and sometimes people fill that out just to get through so they can get services and they may not put everything on there or sometimes they do but I read it and I'm like, okay. I said, let's move on. And how I approach them is I always introduce them and I ask them, have you read my bio? Right? I just want people to know, have you taken an opportunity to read my Bible? Because I get a lot of referrals where people specifically refer, say, I want her, you know? And I'm just like, make sure you read my bio first because I always want to make sure we're a good match, right?
Okay.
And I'm never ashamed to say, uh, I think that maybe someone else can fit your need, be able to better serve you because we're not fitting and it's okay. And I let them know that if I'm not your person, be honest. Tell me. I'm very honest with all of my clients from the very beginning. I let them know right up front. Like I said, I offer traditional and Christian based counseling services, but I'm a Christian. So you will get Kainé Compton. I'm a Christian, and there will be times where, yeah, I will. You open up that door, I'm just going to tiptoe right in. I don't. I don't. I'm being honest. you know, I'm a tiptoe right in. If you open it up, I'm just gonna tiptoe because I always see it as an opportunity to talk to others about Christ. Because a
Hmm.
lot of people come to me, and I will tell you, Brian, and this is the God's honest truth. They will say, "I've tried everything. I don't know what else to do. I'm lonely. I feel empty. I've done drugs. I've had sex. I'm, I get so emotional. I'm sorry because this is real. This is real truth conversations with these clients. I've been a witch practicing Wiccan, and I just don't know what else. I've gone here. I've gone there. I don't know what else to do. And so I asked them, this is the one and I asked them, because that question is on the form that they have to fill out. Do you have any spiritual or religious beliefs? I do. And they will say to me, well, I do. I grew up in the church, you
Hmm.
know, and I'm like, okay. And I'm not lying to you. This is how I know this is God because everyone that I've gotten has grown up in the church or know about Christ. Some are still there. I get a lot of, people that go to church now that are still there. But
Hmm.
the ones that have gone astray. And that's the door that's open. And we just start conversations. Now, I don't force anything on anyone. That's just not. I do not. But we talk about that. And I tell them, if you're comfortable and that's the direction you want to go with me, we can stay in that route. I always give people the opportunity. I don't force anything on them. And 90% of the time, 95 actually, they stay. And
Hmm.
and we're there. And what I do is I say, I don't want to No, I'm not going to come with you and say, tell me about your childhood. Today, I just want to know what happened today. How was your day today?
Yeah.
Tell me how today went. And they're like, huh? And I said, yes. I said, we'll get to the childhood, but what about today?
Yeah.
And that's how it starts. And we form this trusted relationship. And that's all I want. I just want them to know you trust me, I trust you. Be honest with me because I'm going to be honest with you. This is your session. Now,
Yeah.
I've had couples because I do couples counseling. I really enjoy couples counseling. And have had couples that lie in the sessions. And then I'm just like, if you all want to lie and be dishonest, this is your time,
And somebody's
right?
lying, and and everybody in the room know lying.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm just like, can you just be honest with me, please? Just tell me. Be honest. I'm not going to judge you at all. And yeah, but that's what it is with all my clients, whether it's a couples counseling or, just individual. I want honesty and truth because I'm going to come at you and be honest and be truthful. And I tell them if I don't know the answer, I won't ever pretend like I do. I will try my best to find out. That's how I've always been. I feel it's very important to walk in honesty, walk in truth, integrity, right? And most importantly, deliver with love and kindness.
Yeah.
That's just how I am.
Yeah.
So
Beautiful. Okay. Okay. I feel like you're giving a free psychotherapy session right now with how you're speaking. Thank you. So, what's a common misconception about therapy that you wish people would have a better understanding of?
the misconception is that they feel like, well, I'm not crazy, so why should I be going to therapy? I get that all the time, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, oh man, it's okay. You like, I trust me. I've dealt with, like I said, Department of Mental Health.
Hmm.
I see some severely mentally ill clients. I service them, right? But I try to tell people it's not about you being crazy. Counseling is about mind, body, and spirit, like all connecting at once.
Hmm.
That whole healing the whole body, like, and let's start with the mind because if the mind is not right in here, that body's not going to be well,
Mm.
right? So let's work on it. You don't have to be crazy. Like and then I ask them, tell me what is crazy, right? Tell me what you mean by crazy. Because we see so much stuff played out on television, you
Yeah.
know, people think, well, I don't talk to myself and I'm not walking around talking to myself. And okay, we all talk to ourselves technically because I talk to myself a lot of times. I talk out loud in my head. Did I write that down today? Let me think about that. Oh my gosh, I write that down. Girl, you wrote that down. you know, that that doesn't mean I'm crazy.
Right. Right.
So I want people to excuse me, get that misconception that therapy is not about you got to be crazy,
Hmm.
right? And also, and I have to say this, therapy is not just for Caucasian people.
Right.
Like,
Correct.
I'm just that is the biggest misconception in the black and brown community, right? And then I'm learning because I even had Asian clients that would be like, I can't let anyone know that I'm in therapy. And I'm like, I don't tell my mom because my mom is like, that's what white people do. And I'm like, what? Oh, no.
Yeah.
Therapy is for everyone. Everyone. And I'm a firm believer, especially when it comes to the Christian based counseling, right? It's okay to have Christ and a counselor. That's my
Absolutely.
thing.
Yeah.
That's my thing. I tell people that all the time because I have a lot of people that go to church and they'll be like, "Oh, well, the church just pray it out. Or they'll lay hands on me and I'll be healed and I'll be all right. And I have to talk to them and break it down to them.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Mhm. 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 Let me lay this DSM on you, and then they can lay them hands, and I'm gonna bring you on to the psychiatrist, and we can do a little shebang bang boogie. And yes, you are healed. All right, amen. Yeah. 3 in 1. Amen. All right.
yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So what's a common fear that clients have when they first come in, and how do you help them overcome it?
A common fear is they do not want to tell the truth because they feel that if they tell the truth or say something, they're going to be judged,
Mhm.
right? Even if it's something that they did and they're ashamed of,
Mhm.
right? Again, going back to the population I serve, a lot of the women that I have, that I serve and have served in the past, have dealt with molestation, right?
Mhm.
The victims of sexual assault through, their own domestic relationships or even marriage, right? Being raped and things like that. And they're so afraid to talk about that, so ashamed if there was something that happened to them as a child, right? So, what I do is I I've been doing it so long, and I can really discern when it's coming out because they'll say little things, and I watch them, and I say to them, I say, so have you been sexually assaulted before? Tell me about that. And so I'm like, what do you mean? How did you know that? And I tell them, I say, I can pick up on it, and I can see that there's something there, and it's always accurate. They end up telling it, and I'm like, why did you not want to tell me this from the beginning? Well, I was ashamed. I was a little girl. I was 5 years old, and it was my uncle, my brother, and I just didn't understand, and I never told anyone, and I should have told someone. And I have to help them understand that you were 5 years old,
Yeah.
right? And it was not your fault. It never has been your fault. And at 5 years old, or 4 years old, or 15 years old, when it happened, it still was never your fault.
Mhm.
So and I talk to them this way, and I use this tone, and I come in a way that brings them comfort and makes them kind of relax, and
You
we
do
talk
have a
about it.
gift. Oh, you do have a gift. You do have a gift. You do have a gift. Period. So yeah, because I feel safe and supported, and I'm not even in this session, but I'm like, yeah, none of it was my fault. And I'm thinking about other stuff. Yeah, none of that was my fault either. Yeah, walk in that. All right. So what do you say to someone? Because there are so many people now, and it's 2025, the beginning of the new year. What do you say to someone who's on the fence of wanting to start therapy? Like, I want to do it, but I want to, but and they just need that last push.
I just I ask them what's stopping them from it. I look and I want to know. Tell me what's stopping you from going into therapy. Why do you feel like you keep saying you want to and then you pull back? What's holding you back from it?
Mm-hmm.
And it all goes back to I don't want to be judged, right? I don't want people thinking I'm crazy. Oh, in my family, we don't go to therapy. We just, we don't talk about stuff like that. We
Mm-hmm.
just let it go. And then I say, well, I ask them, give me an example of what you mean by letting it go. And they're like, oh, we never talk about it again. It's done. And I said, so you understand, right? And I explained this to them. I said, you understand that you never let any of that go.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell them, trauma is like the truth. It will always come out.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, and it comes out in different ways, different habits, actions, things like that. And they're like, really? And then we start talking kind of about some of the things that they're dealing with. And then I said, now let me connect that with the trauma that has happened to you.
Hmm.
And then we boom, boom, connect the dots. And they're like, oh, I never really thought about it that way. And
Yeah.
I told her, I said, culturally, being a black woman, I let them know do share, but to a certain extent, especially when it's a woman who's dealing with some postpartum. I tell my story of how I went through postpartum, you know, and that I did not tell anyone. I kind of kept it to myself.
Mhm.
I I was going crazy. And I couldn't tell anyone what I was dealing with because I was ashamed. Because, my family of these strong black women had these babies, pushed them out, boom, boom, back to work, back to life, didn't care, working these jobs. And here I am, and my husband's like, I don't even know what's going on with my wife. Like, what's going on? But yet I was in the doctor's office crying to my doctor. And my doctor's like, well, I want to get you some therapy. I'm like, no, I'm not going to therapy.
Mm.
Right? And then finally I said, wait a minute. This is not right. It's okay. And you know what, Ryan? Honestly, since I gave into that, a lot of my family members have followed in the steps, and I
Wow.
broke that belief system in
Yeah.
our family. So
Yeah.
I want to help others, especially in the black and brown culture. We think it's just we no, let's just sweep that under the rug. We'll move on. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's the culture, right? But I'm like, no, we're gonna take that rug, I'm gonna rip it up, and everything gonna come flying out. We're gonna talk about what's swept underneath that rug
Yeah. Yeah.
because you were molested. Your mom was molested. Your mother's mother was molested. So no, we're gonna break this curse, and it's gonna stop right here with you today, and
Yeah.
that's how we do it.
Yeah. Yeah. That is so good. That is so good. And in that, even just the way how you talk, how it's always building like a rapport with the client. First, you provide that safe space for people to be able to, speak about it. So
Hmm.
whoever's listening today, I'm like, you see Kainé, you hear her, you see that she is a part of the community. You see that she's a human being first, human being
Yes.
having that human experience and wanting to be there to support and aid you in whatever you're going through, in
Hmm.
whatever point that you're at within your life. So I just want y'all to feel that. Just know that that is here and help is here. So kind of so with that, um, the family aspect of it, of people not wanting their families to know. Because some people say, okay, I'm not crazy. But then some people get over the crazy aspect. It's like, okay, I'm feeling depressed. Because, depression is popular now. Anxiety is popular. People understand
Yes.
that, people are
Hmm.
becoming more accustomed to, bipolar, even schizophrenia and things like that. But
Hmm.
people look up things and see on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. So it's like, wait, I think I got
Yes.
something from what I'm seeing,
Hmm.
something. What can you tell somebody that is just they're embarrassed, but it's more so I don't want my family, to know. And because some people feel like they need to tell their family everything, which you don't. But what do you tell
Hmm.
somebody is like they're scared of that aspect of it, or I'm still living at home, so I don't even know how to, get over that.
I if you don't want to tell your family, you don't have to tell your family, you know, and I tell them, let's work on you, right? Let's get you comfortable with the actual process first. Let's get you some strength, and when you're ready, we can work on how you want to present this to your mom, your roommate, your cousin, whoever, and talk about it with them.
Okay.
And I tell them it's not healthy to hide secrets. It really isn't, because then the secrets start turning into these lies, and the
Mm.
lies just begin to get bigger. And then you start lying so much that you forget the lie you told. So you got to lie to add on and cover that one.
Mm.
And I tell them, I said, why would you choose to live like that? You're not doing anything wrong. I always want them to understand that you're not doing anything wrong, right? And I explain to them when they start talking about the trauma, the anxiety, and the depression, and I always tell them, especially when they're depressed, right?
Hmm.
I tell them it's okay to acknowledge these things. It's okay to go through these, have these moments. I said, but it's not okay to stay there.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
you're not going to stay there. We're going to work through this together. You're right. We're dealing with a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, trauma, and I tell them all the time, like, especially my trauma victims, I'm like, if you do not recognize and acknowledge and seek help for this trauma, you begin to become that weapon that has been formed against you.
Ugh. Okay.
And they're like, wow. I, I said, yes. You're beating yourself up. You're hiding what you're doing. And I always tell them, everybody doesn't have to know your business.
Mm-hmm.
Speak to maybe that one trusted individual. We all have at least one person that we can trust.
Yeah.
And we do word playing, and I teach them how to be able to communicate and open up and speak about it, and especially I what I see a lot is I get a lot of mother daughter relationships, estranged relationships. I get a lot with that. So, I tell them and show them, let's try this process. It's a working progress, like step by step. So I'm just grateful to offer whatever it is that I can offer. And again, like I said, I take their situation and I work with them.
Okay. Beautiful. Again, y'all listen to Kainé. She here. She open and she got slots. I want to switch gears a little bit. And I just want to talk about you as a therapist. So,
Yes.
what is your favorite aspect about being a therapist?
I want to say my favorite is the different individuals that I meet, right? Everyone is going through something, but they're different and they've handled it different. And so just being able to meet different men, different women, hearing about their experiences, their life journey,
Hmm.
and kind of helping them grow past, right, what they've gone through, acknowledging it, and then, kind of moving around in life and not carrying that baggage with them. I love empowering them. I love encouraging them and letting being able to pour into people and let them know that you can make it.
Hmm.
Your life is not over. This is not the end for you, right? As long as you are allowed to be able to see another day, that's another chance for you to get it better than you did before. So
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Beautiful.
building people up. That's what I want to say.
Building people, because I feel like you don't answer the next question. The next question: what's one thing that you want your clients to take away from working with you? But I feel like they can already see what they take away when working with you.
Hmm.
How do you maintain your own mental health as a therapist? Because you have literally been through, how I say, like the mud. You have started at the bottom in these areas, and you kept going with social services like through it all. So like you've seen what it's like to be a counselor at a very young age, riding all the way through DCF, through Department of Mental Health, and then now you're a therapist and seeing all of what you've been through, like in therapy sessions. So now you have that 35-year-old, 40-year-old who's been through it, all that you've worked with there, and I'm giving you this trauma again. How are you maintaining it for yourself, like from day to day?
I got to give God the glory. I would be remiss and sit here and be a liar if I said I was doing it all on my own. That's a lie. There's no truth in that. I have to give God the glory. I'm not ashamed to say that. I will never be ashamed to acknowledge that. It is my personal relationship with Christ that gets me through this, helps me, shows me, teaches me. I can pray and just really release it and let it go. I
Mm.
have learned how to do that since I was working at DCF because I have seen a lot of things. I have asked God to just remove certain memories from my mind of things that I just did not want to carry with me when it comes to the trauma and the things that I've seen at DCF and even with DMH. A lot of things that I've seen and heard, and now meeting people that I work with. it is. It really is God, and then after God is my husband. My
Mm.
husband is my protector. He's my joy. He's the love of my life, right? And I can confide in him and feel safe, and not to a point where I'm letting him know what's going on, because I really do. I really do, when it comes to confidentiality. That's a big piece for me, is client confidentiality. I do like, and that's what I want to tell you. Because I live in Springfield and I get clients in Springfield, I let them know from the get go if they're a client in Springfield. If you see me out in the community and I don't wave, I don't even look at you, please don't feel disrespected. I'm
Mhm.
doing this for you.
Mhm.
Now, if you come up to me and say anything, then I'm going to speak. But I want you to know I take confidentiality very serious. And Brian, trust me, I have had clients that I will be out last year for our Juneteenth event. We do a huge Juneteenth event for the city of Springfield. It's 3 days and everything is free. And I had different people, clients come there. And this lady was like, "Oh my God, Kainé, that's my therapist." I'm
Oh
like,
God. Oh my goodness.
I'm like,
Okay.
oh God. So yeah, but back to what you were saying. Yeah, I pray for downtime. I'm gonna be honest with you. I like to just rest. I
Mm.
really do. I like to rest, and when I mean rest, I don't mean going to sleep. I mean like I just completely shut my brain down, because my brain is constantly going, right? All
All
this
day.
critical thinking, and oh my gosh. So sometimes I just want to just sit on my couch and some nice fresh clean pajamas and click watch a couple of shows, just tap out. I don't want to do anything. I'm the queen of like, okay, you can invite me somewhere, and then in the back of my mind I'm really hoping like you cancel, because I don't want to.
Cancel it, please. I love a good cancellation.
I love a good cancellation. so
All
so that's what I do.
right, so Jesus, your husband, and rest.
Yes.
I can take it. I can take it. Last one to close it out. What's one piece of advice that you want to leave the viewers with today?
I love to say this. And I said this when I was featured in the Republican newspaper back in June. Don't pour from an empty cup.
Hmm.
And I know that a lot of people hear that all the time, but you really have to hear it and understand it. That you cannot sit here and pour yourself out into everyone else and then think that you're going to be okay. That's the biggest lie. You have to refresh your own self. And however which way you choose to do that.
Yeah.
Let's hope that it's something that is healthy. Let's hope that it's something that is positive. But do not pour out and then you turn around, you all dried up and can't barely make it. And then you're wondering what's going on. No, people will pull from you. They will pull and pull and pull from you. And you'll keep pouring and pouring and pouring until there's nothing left.
Hmm.
And then guess what? Something happens to you. Those people are still going to keep moving. They're just going to go on to somebody else that they can pull from.
Yeah.
Do not pour from an empty cup. And understand also, it's not your battle.
Hmm.
I make that, this is not my battle. This is my calling. These are the gifts that God has given me. I will utilize these gifts, but I'm never taking on anyone else's battle. I
Hmm.
refuse. Do not. Don't take on that battle. It's not yours. It's not yours. So,
Friday, thank you, thank you, thank you for all the gems that you have given today, for letting your spirit just be in this place on this episode today. I hope that people can receive it and see that there are literally, and I said it before, real people who have had real experiences, who
yes.
are therapists here willing to help and aid and guide you through traumatic events, grief, anxiety, depression, and just day to day things, and who also have an understanding what it's like. You have been a black woman all your life, right?
Yeah.
Who have an understanding of what it's like to be a person of color walking through life, and can definitely make that connection and give you, vital tools to make it through, because you've literally been through it. You
Yeah.
literally been through it, survived it, and are still willing to not only give back, but give back in a community that you've consistently been with. And that's huge. And that is huge. So I thank you for being here today. Again, this is Kainé Compton. She is a therapist at Tools for Success Counseling. She has openings right now. It's telehealth. Is it telehealth or is it both?
Yes, it's telehealth in
Telehealth.
in
Telehealth,
the
right?
East Long Meadow office.
Right now in the East Long Meadow office. So you can go to toolsforsuccesscounseling.com to connect with her. And yeah, any last words, Kainé, before we log off?
I just want people to understand that don't do things, right, and expect that you need to get something in return from it.
Mm,
Do it because it feels right. Help someone out because that's what you're supposed to do. We are helpers one to another, right? Let's
yeah.
lift one another up. Let's help them. Someone's going through something, help them out, right? But don't take on that battle, but it's okay to help. So I just want to make sure I corrected that. But it's too many people that are doing things
Hmm.
on social media, on these platforms, where they're recording what they're doing just for likes. And no, no, do your stuff where it's done, right? And no one sees it. And
Hmm.
trust me, you will be rewarded openly where everybody will see it.
Hmm.
I want people to understand that. Don't do anything with a motive of I want to do this because I'm getting this in return. That's not, that's not being a good person. And trust me, you can come to me and request me as a therapist, and I'll definitely help you with that situation.
And on that note, thank you everybody for joining us on Tours for Success Counseling. We will see you next time. Bye.